guys, and welcome back to yet another video. And this video is a little different, and today in this video I will be sharing with you some of my list of books which I think have been very interesting for me to read over the past 1 year in 2021. And the reason behind sharing these list of books and a little synopsis on them is to probably give you recommendations for the books which you may want to add in the year 2022. As you know, the winters are right here, and it's almost at the end of the year, and you can see this Christmas tree in the background. It's the perfect time to grab something warm to drink and cozy up with a book. So I thought, why not share a list of books which you might find interesting. So I have a list of 5 books which I personally find very interesting to read. In fact, I don't mind reading them again. And so I'll begin with probably the first book which I found really interesting. The name of the book is The Immortals of Meluha. Now, this is a book which is written by Amish Tripathi, and it is a part of the Shiva trilogy. And this book is really interesting because it is not really like a religious or a mythological book, but it uses the characters from mythology like Shiva and Parvati and narrates a tale about this city called Meluha, and how the people of the city really want to protect the city, and they're actually waiting for somebody whom they consider as auspicious to come and save them. And the character of Shiva is the one who reaches the city and is trying to understand that why are people really waiting for him. The interesting part about this book is that the narrative is very different. It is very engaging, and it talks about various different aspects of the human life and human emotions. What I really liked about this book is that the author has portrayed the character of Shiva, which is considered godlike in our Indian society and Indian culture, and the character of Shiva is portrayed very human like. It tries to depict its own vulnerabilities. It talks about friendship, about love, companionship. And the most interesting part which I liked was that in this book the character Shiva actually condemns things like inequality, casteism, and tries to see individual beyond their given titles in the society. So if this is something, these topics are something which are interesting for you, I think you will definitely enjoy this book, because I really did. It was very grasping, and I wanted to know more what's next in the chapter. So that's the first book on the recommendations, The Immortals of Meluha. So the next book on the list is The Secret of the Nagas. Now, this is a book which is actually a sequel to the first one, which is The Immortals of Meluha. So in order to understand this book, you actually need to read the first one. Now, this one is full of suspense. It is really gripping. And what I liked about this book was that it tries to deal with human conflicts. It helps us to understand that when an individual is displaying negative behavior, what is it which might be going on behind them. It pushes the main character, which is again Shiva, to really understand the other person's perspective. So for me, it really captures the emotions of empathy, about bravery, about hope, and also the subtle aspects of human beings in terms of relationships, of love, about about caring. So that way this book is really nice. It's very gripping, And another interesting thing which I find about this book is that it also deals with the concept of leadership, wherein Shiva takes the role of a leader and how he actually manages to instill enthusiasm. He is there to support, his army of soldiers, and is ready to, take on any sort of risk for them. So even if you are somebody who is maybe holding a leadership position in an organization or even in your own work, I think you can probably pick a thing or two about leadership from this book as well. Now the third book on the list for me is The Seven Secrets of the Goddesses. Now this is a book which is written by Devdutt Patnaik. He is a very renowned mythologist, and he was actually before a management consultant, and he's also a doctor actually. So the interesting part about this book is that it tries to cover the concepts of different goddesses in the Indian culture and Indian mythology. And the interesting part is that he actually shares facts that, you know, why women are so important in society. It tries to take you back to, many years ago, and draws very interesting symbolic representation of women with nature, and also sheds some light that how in ancient times actually women were really worshipped because of the kind of power they were holding. That's what individuals used to believe. And strangely and sadly, how that shift has happened in the society now, and why again women have to actually fight now for their equality, for their own rights. So that way this book is very interesting to read about. However, I would say that the narration of the book is not really story-like. It is more like, factual with facts and information. So if that is something which you may not find very interesting, so I'm just giving you a little heads up. Otherwise, it is an interesting book to read for sure. Now, the fourth book on the list is The Brain, The Story of You, and the author for the book is David Eagleman. So now this is a little shift from the spiritual or the mythological books which I just shared with you. Now I personally find this book really very interesting. Even if you are somebody who is not from a psychology background, you may find this book very easy to read and understand. This book tries to explain different concepts of human emotions and how our brain functions, how we learn, how does our memory work, the cognition, etc. But apart from these concepts, the most interesting part about this book is that it shares really fun and interesting experiments, which are being done by psychologists or neuropsychologists. And it also goes very deep into the concept of consciousness, and helps you, really think about, what a marvel this brain is. So that way it's an amazing book. I really recommend that, if the brain, the human mind, the human emotion is something which interests you, I think this is a book you can definitely start with. Now the fifth and the last book on the list is Flowers for Algernon, and this is a book by Daniel Keyes. Now this is a book which I have read on my Kindle, and I usually prefer to read paperback books as compared to reading on Kindle, but I'm slowly also developing a habit of reading it on Kindle. So to tell you a little about this book, Flowers for Algernon, this is a very beautiful book. When you start reading it, you might feel that you're reading somebody's diary, and I'll probably leave the suspense until there. and I'll tell you a little more about the concept about the book. So this book is about an individual, about a character called Charlie, and how he is considered as somebody with low IQ, and through scientific experiments or artificial intelligence, he undergoes a surgery, and his IQ really increases. Over the course of the book, one is able to realize and come to a conclusion that at the end, it's actually your EQ, which is emotional quotient, which really matters as compared to your IQ, which is intelligent quotient. It touches on various aspects of human emotions, human desires, and helps us to just see that even some simplest of joys are actually some of the biggest things as human beings which we should strive for, rather than fixating achievement just based on IQ. And this was a book which was recommended to me by my brother, and I definitely thank him for recommending this book, because it is indeed a very beautiful book, and the way it's written is very different. The narrative style is very unique, and I think you must read this book. It is very easy to read, and it is gripping at the same time. It's not a very slow book, so it's not that there are a lot of deep thoughts you need to go into. It is an easy read but an impactful read. So these were my 5 recommended books, which probably you can add to your 2022 reading list. In case you did like this video, please do press the like button, and do give me some comments about it, and share your recommendations for me, which I can add to my 2022 reading list. So that's all for now, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you will be reading at least one of these books in 2022. So until then, goodbye and see you very soon.